Hey, I'm Zoe, and this is the Relentless Reset. No formulas, no fixes, just short, honest reflections on navigating the messy middle of growth and becoming.
So before we dive in, just a quick note. I want to acknowledge that this whole season is grounded in a high-achieving Western cultural lens, because that's the world I was shaped in, and that many of you move through as well. That said, the way I talk about inner voice work, particularly in this episode, might not feel safe or helpful for everyone, especially if you're navigating complex mental health challenges or trauma or certain kinds of neurodivergence. So if that's you, I've added more context in the episode notes. But as always, take what fits, leave what doesn't. So, if you've listened to earlier episodes, you've heard me talk about letting go of our programming, those unconscious beliefs and patterns we internalize to survive, belong, succeed. About dropping the performance, the roles we thought we had to play, and how what's left when we finally put down the script often isn't the clarity that we were hoping for. It's stillness. And that stillness can really feel like failure, like you've lost your way or lost your drive. But what's really happening is you've traded the map for a compass. And now, without a map or a script telling you what to do or who to be, you're just left with all the voices in your head. And so the work begins, figuring out which voice is actually you. You see, most of the voices in your head didn't originate with you. They might sound like, speak up, but not too much. You don't want to come across as pushy. Or, don't take things so personally. Man up. Don't rock the boat. Be a team player. You're being too dramatic. They come from family, school, religion, culture, capitalism, trauma, pretty much everywhere. And you've practiced them for so long, they feel natural, automatic, but they're not your voice. They're a script that you inherited, often from people who inherited them themselves. And part of why that script runs so deep is because we're taught, especially in high-achieving spaces, to listen to everyone except ourselves. Mind your teachers, respect your elders, don't talk back. What do you know? So we learn early. Authority lives outside of us. And we continue throughout our lives to seek answers and approval and direction from people we have been taught know better than us. We outsource our wisdom. And over time, we forget our own knowing. Now, to be clear, these other voices in your head are not trying to sabotage you. They're often trying to protect you from judgment or failure or shame. They learned what worked when you were younger, and you, have been running those scripts ever since. It's just the strategies that worked when we were 4 may not serve us at 40. So when you try to step outside the script, when you finally stop performing, your inner world starts rebelling. You doubt, you panic, you freeze, because your nervous system thinks this stillness means danger. The moment you stop performing, you've interrupted the pattern, one that's kept you safe and accepted, and oftentimes even successful. Your system doesn't know what to do, so those protective parts get loud. But they're not trying to hurt you. They're trying to pull you back to the safety of performance. Because performance is fast. It's adrenaline-based, reactive. It gives you no time to ask why. But truth moves slower. Truth asks questions. It's been said in different ways by different people, from the ancient Romans to the Navy SEALs. But I like how Rich Litvin puts it. Sometimes you have to slow down to speed up. Now, here's why this matters. Our brains are wired for efficiency, for pattern. Speed runs on habit. And habit doesn't always leave room for awareness. So when you slow down, when you pull back into the present, you interrupt the pattern, the automatic responses, the performative instincts, the programming that's been running the show up until now. This phase feels clunky because it is. Think of the last time you updated your phone or your computer. At first, it can be chaos. Settings are gone, apps have moved, you're fumbling around through menus trying to do something that used to take just one click. That's what this is. You are out of autopilot and learning to navigate in real time. So yeah, it feels like everyone else is flying while you're stuck trying to find the on button. So here's the key. Let curiosity, not certainty, lead. You're not behind. You're not expected to have it all figured out. You are learning a new skill, a new language. And anyone who's ever reprogrammed their life has passed through this messy middle. It's not a detour. It's the process. But once everything's rebooted, you're faster, more efficient, more agile. You re-engage your awareness, and that awareness, that's where your voice can surface. So, what does your real voice actually sound like? It might not sound like confidence at first. Sometimes it's just a whisper under all that noise. You'll recognize it not by what it says, but by how it lands. It feels like relief, like unclenching, like something inside you exhaling because you're remembering. There's a part of you that already knows what to do. You don't need external validation or approval. You have an internal guidance system, and it's been there all along, just waiting for you to listen. Not to the loudest voice, not to the fastest one, but to the one that usually gets drowned out. Then you can begin to tell which voice is truly yours. And that starts with noticing how each one feels and sounds. The voice of performance and protection usually feels critical, like, you better not mess this up. Or anxious, like, but if you slow down, you'll fall behind. Or defensive, like, they're out to get you. Do not show weakness. Pressuring, like, this has to be perfect or it's not worth it. Absolute, like, you always screw up. Or my favorite is conditional. You'll only be loved or liked or accepted if you succeed. That's not the core you. That's programming. Your true voice feels calm. Like, this isn't urgent. I can take a breath. Clear, like, that's not for me. Curious. What if this could be easier? Creative. There's another way. Grounded. Even if it's hard, I can handle this. How about honest? Like, this matters to me, even if no one else gets it. Even when your voice delivers hard truths, it does not panic. It does not negotiate your worth. It doesn't shout. And hear me on this one. It is never cruel. So now that you know what you're listening for, try asking yourself one or more of these questions. Why do I believe this is true? What would happen if I didn't believe this? Does this voice want to protect me or empower me? When I follow this voice, do I feel more like myself or less? And my favorite, when I say this thought out loud, does my body open or tighten? Again, it's not a pop quiz. You're not trying to get it right. You are building a relationship, learning what your own voice feels like. Because you're not just listening to the words, you're tuning into the energy underneath. And if it feels tight and shame-based or fear-driven, it's probably not you. On the other hand, if it feels steady and grounded, even if it's uncertain, it might be. That's the difference. So your awareness is your compass, and curiosity is your fuel. You've spent years in automation where certainty felt like safety. But now, curiosity is what brings you home. And here's the good news. You don't have to overhaul everything at once. Start small. Run some experiments. For me, this realization came after a serious burnout. My adrenals were gone, my nervous system was wrecked, and I knew I needed, at the very least, more sleep. But my inner world was terrified. I didn't know what I could trade that wouldn't collapse my entire house of cards. So I started small. Did I really need to hit inbox zero every night? Was it really required for my success, or did it just make me feel in control? Could I trade a few unanswered emails for one more hour of rest? Turns out yes, and it didn't all collapse. I started to come back to myself one tiny experiment at a time. And with each one, I didn't feel bigger or louder. I just felt more solid, more me. And you can try it too. Start with one voice, one habit, one expectation, and ask, is this mine? Is this true? And how do I know it's true? So here's the reframe. Your voice was never lost. It's just been buried underneath the noise. Not missing, not broken, just overpowered. You don't have to chase it down or build it from scratch. You only have to slow down enough to hear it, because your real voice, it doesn't shout, it hums. And the more you listen, the clearer it gets. Now I'll be honest. When your real voice starts showing up, your nervous system might go into overdrive. So next episode, we are headed out of the head and into the body, because sometimes your head says should, and your body quietly, powerfully says no. It's one of the best tools you have, and that's where we're going next. So keep listening, keep resetting, and I'll see you back here next week.